Hello, everyone. Welcome to Across the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, where on each and every episode, we explore the world of Marvel's Mighty Thor. I am one of your hosts, Ryan Doze, here for this episode. I am joined by the Prince of Preparedness, Hercules himself, Eric Teskey. Eric, we're gonna, I'm a different kind of deific duo, but I hope to embody both Faz energy and my own energy. Are you ready with your Herculean task ahead of you of our second part of Dan Jurgens' run of Thor?
Abso-frickin-lutely. We are going to journey into Jurgens. We are going to party like it's 1999, January 6th, 1999. Do you remember what you were doing in 1999? I remember I was like in middle school.
I was just turning 9 years old.
Excellent.
And I'm gonna fact check myself here. I believe I had just this was the right year. I got this right. I was still obsessed with Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oh yeah.
So I was living my best life because I had just seen a brand new Star Wars movie earlier that year. So yeah, I just turned 9 when this issue came out. When the issue that we're going to talk about first tonight comes out.
So we've got the appropriate context. Now we can enter into this with the right headspace.
Yeah. So for those of you that maybe are joining or you haven't joined us in one of our creator spotlights before, what we do is we go storyline by storyline, kind of a collected edition by collected edition through a specific creator of Thor comics' run on that character. So first one we did was Jason Aaron, and we did that multiple years ago at this point. And then last year we finished up Walt Simonson. We did the bulk of it, and I guess we finished it up a little bit earlier this year. But we finished up Walt Simonson, and now we are journeying through Dan Jurgens' run of Thor, which actually kicked off the second official volume of Thor. So after the volume ones all around the Marvel universe were killed off in the late 90s, we relaunched these books in their brand new number ones. Some of them had never seen a new number one before, especially our guy Thor. So Dan Jurgens, prolific writer, also famous for the death of Superman, probably the thing he's most well known for. He is taking on Thor in the late 90s. So like Eric said, we're in 99. And we are, I believe we're at issue 9 of Dan Jurgens' run. So well, Eric, let me just tell people, in our first edition of Journey into Jurgens, what did we talk about? Like just in an overview for those that maybe didn't catch it.
Yeah, well, we've got a pretty massive status quo change. It really feels like a fresh start. We have a new EMT, Jake Olsen, gets killed, and his soul is sort of attached to Thor as a way to sort of keep his spirit alive. But that means Thor has to change into this mortal and live out his life to sort of pay tribute to him because of the situation that got him killed in a battle with the Destroyer. So it's a really good combination of playing the hits. Essentially, we've got a lot of recurring characters, like we see Odin, we see Destroyer, we see familiar faces, but there's also fresh takes and some brand new dark gods that are setting up to be the real major antagonists, especially of these first two trades in this first arc that's going to conclude in this episode. We're going to go through to the end of that sort of battle with the dark gods, these new characters, Perrikus, Magistranzalia, all the Takats, yes. So that's the real major threat. There's some through lines going on with, Jake Olsen's girlfriend and her daughter and things like that. So it's a good back and forth between some day in the life, slice of life stuff and some larger than life pantheon of gods, high stakes action.
Great summation. We are deep into this storyline about the dark gods, and we are about to learn both some of their secrets, but also we are going to hit a major battle. We are going to get the war of the dark gods, and Thor is going to be smack dab in the middle of it, as is your boy Hercules is going to be in the middle of this as well.
That's right.
Hercules he's always up for a fight, and he's gonna get one in a few issues. So on this edition of Journey into Jurgens, we're going to talk about issues 9 through 13, and we're also going to talk about the 1999 annual issue, which doesn't have anything to do with the Dark God story, but it is a very fun annual, written and art by Dan Jurgens himself, and we're going to do that as an epilogue towards the end. Even though, as Eric informed me, it came out after issue 9, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So that's what we're going to do, everybody, on this episode of Across the Bifrost, our second edition of Journey into Jurgens. Eric, are we ready to hop into issue 9?
I think so. Let's dive in.
So issue 9 came out January 6, 1999, beginning of the year. We got a brand new issue of Thor. It is entitled Answers, and on the cover, we are promised that the secrets of the Dark Gods will be revealed in this issue. We see Odin we see Thor in the background with this ball of light in the middle of the cover. It features Odin, and I believe that is Magistron Zelia on the right side, our principal Dark God, and they are looking incredibly heroic and villainous on this cover, but this issue is really the deep breath before the plunge in our Dark War story. So, big overview synopsis: we see Thor flying over the streets of New York. He notices that there is a villain that he is somewhat familiar with called Replicus, who is causing trouble down on the streets. He goes down there, and they have a good little fight there in the streets of New York. And Thor dispatches of this robotic villain. And then just money starts to fly out of him, so we can assume he was robbing a bank. But we're done with Replicus for that moment. Cool fight. Great John Buscema guest art on that. And that I really enjoyed. But then we see Thor kind of cleaning up around New York City, both in his social life and taking out the children, I guess, that were in control of Replicus. They were almost like daring each other to take this robot out for a spin. And then Thor, in the guise of Jake Olsen, goes to a New York Giants football game. And he just eats chili dogs and drinks soda and shakes to his heart's content. And he's trying to play into this role of Jake Olsen. Hannah Fairmont and her daughter Amanda. Amanda is kind of that edgy teenager that doesn't really get why her mom likes this Jake Olsen guy. So Jake, who's actually Thor, is kind of low-key playing this role of potential stepdad, which is super funny to me. We cut away from Midgard for a second, and we see Odin, who we learned in our last part of Journey into Jurgens has been imprisoned by the Dark Gods, and the Dark Gods are now in control of what is really left of Asgard. Perrikus, we really get to see Perrikus come into his own in these issues. He is talking mad trash to Odin, and we see them setting the stage to get Thor kind of drawn back to Asgard. Thor, sensing that there's more to do in this conflict with the Dark Gods, because they did square off a little bit in the previous issues. Spider-Man showed up. It was a whole thing. Go check out our episode about it. But one of my favorite things happens here, Eric, in these issues. Thor goes and consults Oracle, who appeared alongside Ulick in Ulick's first appearance all the way back in Thor 130s. Oracle, not initially helpful, says, I can't tell you any, I know everything, but I can't tell you anything. But then Marnot shows up. Thor threatens to throttle Marnot, and he's like, I don't think you're going to like that. I wouldn't do that if I were you. They discuss the origin of the Dark Gods, and we learn that there was an Asgardian explorer that went out, was sent out by Odin to go look amongst the stars, and he discovers this dark, sinister planet where the people are kind of twisted. They want to sacrifice kids. They just want to make the Dark Gods happy no matter what. and this explorer, Lonkar is his name. He fights a sorceress, kind of almost Hela-looking villain named Saron, and we find out that is Perrikus's wife, and Lonkar accidentally kills her. Perrikus is having none of this.
He's not going to like that. Yeah.
Yeah. And he threatens war against Odin and Asgard. And that is the origin of why, especially Perrikus, wants these Asgardians gone. We find out that Thor, as a child, helped Odin defeat the dark gods before they were locked away under Asgard. And Oracle, flashing forward, Oracle is like, oh yeah, I could have told you all of that, but I don't know, confidentiality and all that. Marnock confirms all of these things, and it sets the stage for Thor to go to war. On the last page of the issue, he says, "Let them know that there shall be war upon unto death once more. So swears Thor. Next issue, war." So, Eric, we have set the stage for the Dark War to commence. Thor is ready to rock and roll. Initial thoughts, things you want to pick at a little bit in this issue. We'll just go from there.
The first time I read this, I had no recollection of this backstory of Narcissan, the home of the dark gods, this place, and Lonkar coming there.
Yeah.
Killing this no wonder Perrikus is pissed. Like they kind of Asgard kind of instigated this. It's
Lonkar really screwed him up.
Yeah, this is kind of payback. They've kind of been on the hunt for Asgard to get payback this whole time. And that kind of sucks. That kind of makes a lot of sense, though. One of my favorite things was the cameo, really a cameo from Replicus, because Replicus doesn't do a whole lot.
No,
this
not really.
Robot that's like an ATM pinata that gets busted up.
ATM pinata.
He does one of his signature moves, and that is cobalt cable fingers. And so his fingers stretch out, and they're made of cobalt. Back in the 60s, when he made his first appearance, cobalt must have been this like exotic material, because cobalt gets dropped again and again and again. Oh, the cobalt weapon and the cobalt robot and stuff like that. So that's just a fun callback. Another thing, eagle-eyed readers would see this. Ding, ding, ding. We have a 90s slang sighting.
Yes.
We have one of the detectives going, "You have got to be kidding me." It's like a laugh line in a sitcom. It's so nice.
Oh gosh, and you can hear it. You can hear the canned laughter just uproariously being clicked after they say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought this was a lot of fun. I thought Thor is drawn beautifully. I think it's a great, like you said, it's the deep breath before we're really going to start getting some more intense action. Replicus gives us just enough smash 'em up so that it's not just like a football game and backstory issue.
Right.
But it's a really good combination of all three. It's a brawl in the streets. It's some everyday life stuff, some backstory lore, and very satisfying to see really this whole previous war with Asgard that they were about to lose until Thor tosses Odin a piece of a spear to turn the tide. So it was really coming down to a wire there for a little bit.
Well, one thing you talk about this issue kind of having everything in the Replicus fight gives us that, villain of the week. At least we got to see for 4 or 5 pages, we got to see Thor fight something, but then the rest of it really is exposition but in a good way. Like, we're getting exposition as a flashback, and we see Lonkar go to Narcissan, and we get to see this fight. It was action-packed for an issue that is essentially explaining what we're about to do. Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite, I love the writing that Dan Jurgens does in some of these slice of life moments. So they're leaving the Giants game, and Amanda, again, edgy teenager, she's not giving Jake too much credit. Hannah, the believability of Hannah is kind of wearing on me a little bit, because Jake is clearly not your guy, girl. You might need to cut this one loose. But I love they're leaving the game, and Amanda and Jake have this like sweet moment where she says, "Hey, yeah, I haven't been your biggest fan, and I guess I want to say I'm sorry. You make mom happy, and that's all that counts." Jake says, "Thanks, kiddo. I appreciate that." Hannah in the background calls for a taxi, and then as she's getting in the car, she says, "You sure don't want to come over for coffee?" And Jake, Thor knows he needs to get back to Asgard. He needs to start figuring shit out. So, but here's what he does. He says, "No, I have to be on deck for his paramedic job at 5 a.m. Rain check." And she says, leaning forward, she's like, "Count on it, lover." It's like, yikes. Can you imagine being Amanda? You're a high school daughter, and you're like, "Oh God, mom."
Don't say that.
The car pulls away, and Jake, with an exclamation mark, runs into the alley, says, "Finally." I got such a good chuckle out of that. I know I'm not supposed to like, but you're leaving this supposed like woman Jake is in love with, and Thor's just like, "Oh my God, I get so tired of playing this part." He smacks his hand on the pavement, turns into Thor, flies off to Asgard. He's like, "I know I made an agreement that I would live this guy's life, but God, can I go punch some stuff, please?"
Well, and listener, if you think this sounds really kind of cringe and awkward that Thor is in the body of Jake Olsen, but with the mind of Thor fully conscious, realizing like, I'm just pretending to be going out with Hannah. Like, he doesn't even love her. He's trying to like dodge the situation of like, how am I going to get out of this one? Because like, how long can I keep this going? She's going to figure it out. And Marnot is quick to chime in like, "Well, you made a deal. You've got to do what's best for him, and you have to like live out the rest of his life." Which just, it's supposed to be awkward. I think it's not supposed to sit right with us because it is a weird situation.
Well, and I think it adds to like, I mean, my opinion, it adds to the humor of those moments, because sometimes what we get so seldomly in a Thor book is humor, like moments that make us laugh, and we're like, "Oh, he's relatable. Like, he's kind of weird and awkward." But like him running away from the car, just like, finally, it made me laugh, and also just be like, man, why has Hannah not left this guy yet? But we do actually, in the issues to come, we do get a great conversation between Thor and Jane Foster, aka the true hero of Thor comic history. She puts Thor in his place. It was like, you gotta like piss her off the pot, man. Like, this is unfair to her. But we'll dig into that a little bit more in a few minutes. Eric, anything else to say about issue 9, our deep breath before the plunge?
Not really. Just mad respect for Dan Jurgens for digging up a couple throwback characters. Oracle is a deep cut and very bizarre thing to throw into the first part of your run. So he is like really kind of anchoring himself to classic Thor, which is fun to see. I enjoyed it. So
Could not agree more. I not that I bought it for this reason, but I do have Oracle's first appearance. I tend to view it more as Ulick's first appearance, but I do have that issue, and the Jack Kirby art on that one is incredible. So we're going to jump into the second issue. It's issue 10 of this run, and it is entitled "The Dark Wars Part 1." This came out February 3rd of 1999, so just a little under a month later. And we have Dan Jurgens still writing, but we're back to John Romita Jr. artwork. John took last issue off to, I don't know, do Romita things. And we have Klaus Janson back on inking as well. So we're back to our regular art team on this issue. On the cover of this issue, we have Thor looking almost Ben Grimm-esque with his muscles kind of cracking on his humongous arms. He's got Mjolnir in his giant, like King Kong sized fist. And Perrikus is behind him, ready to, it looks like, hit him with the death blow. This cover, I just find it kind of cool. It's Joe Quesada. Joe Quesada would become editor-in-chief at Marvel in just a matter of years after this issue came out. So we get a Joe Quesada cover here, which is kind of fun.
Look at you with all the fun facts. I didn't even know that. That's cool.
Well, Hey, I'll put it this way: you have your strengths, I have my strengths. And this issue is really we are beginning the climactic portion of this first storyline, where we see Perrikus and Takats talking. Takats gets no credit for anything. He's the one that's calling out. He's like, we should do this, we should do that, we should go get Thor. And Perrikus's ego gets in the way of Takats maybe having good ideas from time to time. But Thor is back on Midgard. We see a little bit of a paramedic of kind of procedural discussion. Hannah is, again, kind of not buying what Jake is selling right now, because Jake is very here and there. He's like, oh, I got to go do a thing. It's like, girl, he's cheating on you. Like, he's cheating on you. I love that we go back to Asgard and we see Odin still imprisoned in these giant chains. I love these artistic depictions of Odin being held prisoner, because they're very dark, they're very gloomy, they're very atmospheric. And his version of a destroyed Asgard, John Romita Jr.'s version of a destroyed Asgard, is very, at times, almost Simonson-esque. Because it's very angular, it's very sharp edges to things, shadowed in very atmospheric ways. It's actually one of my favorite parts of the John Romita art of this run. We have another run-in with Jake and Jane, and Jane, again, not buying what Jake is selling. She knows she is so onto this guy that it's actually Thor. But before they can get too far into the discussion, Perrikus shows up and he has a message for the Odinson. He says, "I demand the Odinson. You are a coward, Thunder God. Why else would you hide yourself from Asgard's conquerors?" He basically says, dude, show up to Asgard, show up for a fight. We're going to have it out. And if you needed any more added incentive, here is a like hologram projection of your beat up girlfriend in my hand as he's holding Sif. This giant projection over New York City. He says, starting with the one you covet most, your lady Sif. Which, okay, dude. If you wanted to piss him off, that was a way to do it. And we see Jake fly off to Asgard, transforms into Thor, and we get these initial verbal sparring matches with the Dark God Pantheon and Thor. Perrikus, though, jumps to the head of the line, and he says, "I call you out, Thunder God. For all those years I suffered in your father's prison, for the years you did cost me, I challenge you until only one of us breathes life." Thor, always willing to oblige in a big fight. He says, "Yield at Thor's command while possible, Perrikus, or face my righteous wrath." Perrikus replies, "Never." And they go at it. It is a fantastic fight. There's so much to love in this fight. I'm sure we will dig into it. But at the conclusion of this fight, we get one of those classic Thor tropes. What's a way to make Thor feel the depths of despair? You destroy Mjolnir. So Mjolnir is rent in twain, as maybe the old Norse / Shakespearean characters would say, and then that's Perrikus's opening to just beat the shit out of Perrikus, or out of Thor, as Odin and Magistron Zelia are watching. Zelia is having a riot of a time watching this, and Odin fears for Thor. He transforms back into Jake and knows, because the 60 seconds have elapsed, the minute has gone by, and Mjolnir is no longer able to, he's no longer able to use the enchantment because Mjolnir is broken. Thor, then, this part I might need a little bit of help with, Eric. He falls through a Asgardian storm drain. And he slips into, the pipes, and he's able to avoid capture, because when he is in the form of Jake Olsen, they cannot detect his Asgardian energy. Mm-hmm. He doesn't show up on the radar. We end the issue with Perrikus yelling as Jake is crawling away in this underground passage. Odinson, return to me turn to me here and now, or I'll cut the meat from the bones of all that you hold dear. Next, the storm that died. It was like, well,
Dang.
okay, you got me. This was the great issue.
Perrikus is evil as hell. I mean, that's a great line to establish that this guy is not joking around. He's a maniacal villain.
Right.
It's gruesome, but yeah, he slips into the storm drain just in time. So they see Thor go in, and they don't know that he's changed into
Right.
Jake. They just know that he sort of goes off there. He goes off the radar when he changes, and they don't know how to detect him. So that's going to come up big time in the next couple issues.
Yeah, because the Dark Gods and honestly some of Thor's Asgardian allies like Balder and Sif and Odin, they're like, is he being a coward? Like, is Thor finally running from a fight? And what they don't realize is Thor has to be smart because Jake will die. Like
Yeah.
Jake is nothing in this fight. But Eric, what were some of your favorite parts of issue 10 as we begin the Dark Wars?
This sets up Perrikus as, so they really square off against Thor, and this is showing some of the brilliance, I think, of Dan Jurgens being able to be the architect of this fight over the course of several months as these issues are dropping. Because what you want to do is you want to have the two main characters kind of square off, so you can kind of establish how are they matched.
Yeah.
Are they evenly matched? They both start with energy blasts, and neither does anything to the other. So we know it's not going to be like a big energy blast fight. I mean, they're
Right.
like shooting just beams of pure energy, which is something I love about the Jurgens run. We get a lot more energy blast shooting from Mjolnir. That's a power
Right.
set that was established in the original run, and it's not something that we've seen too frequently in more modern times. So I think this use of it is really cool, where the beam sort of shoots out of either the front or the top of the hammer. But
Yeah.
these energy blasts are doing nothing. So when Perrikus uses then his melee weapon against Mjolnir, it cleaves an end of it right off. And so
Yeah.
that establishes, okay, so if that was, Thor's head, for example, that could probably take his head off. This is not a
Yes.
joke, But although Mjolnir being smashed is something of a trope by this point, it is the first time it happens in this run.
Right.
And it definitely deals with how do we make sure that we get, this conflict with Jake is so much more vulnerable to Perrikus.
Oh,
If
yeah.
they found Jake, he'd be dead in an instant. So
Right.
it really kind of increases the anxiety and gives us an idea that this might actually be a problem here, and not just who can smash hardest, end of fight. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and his Perrikus's weapon is this almost crescent-looking scythe kind of weapon. I think this is the issue, Eric. That I finally like. Oh, Perrikus's design is simple but awesome. He really embodies his title, and I think we do hear the title that he has from Magistron Zelia. We hear his title of God of Power Unlimited and Energy Infinite, which, like, dude, if you've got a moniker, that's a moniker. But I love that we see those qualities about Perrikus on full display. This is to your point about this is the first fight. This is the first time we're seeing them go head to head. So really, we're just establishing power sets here. We're establishing where they are in comparison to each other, and we see Perrikus just get the better of him, and it makes him an imposing threat. Now, because we know that this is not the end of Thor, it is a little bit of like, okay, how's Thor going to get out of this one? But Perrikus is kind of a badass villain, and the way he ends the issue with that battle cry, I'm like, okay, dude, I am in. I am not stopping reading right now. Now, that is for sure.
And speaking, I mean, we can just go on to the next issue. I think
Yeah.
this is getting us right into a little bit of a pause in the fight, right? We want to like sort of pace it out, space it out, so
Yeah.
it's not just one big smash 'em up. But this next issue, we're going to dive in and have a little bit more of what's Jake Olsen going to do now as the next step.
So the next issue is issue 11. It is entitled The Dark Wars Part 2. So if this were Star Wars, we've just done New Hope. This is our Empire Strikes Back. This came out March 3rd of 1999. Then we have our same team, Dan Jurgens, John Romita Jr., Klaus Janson. And this issue on the cover, it proclaims that Jake Olsen, not Thor, Thor is not on this cover. It says that Jake is powerless before Perrikus. And we see Jake in the foreground with a shattered Mjolnir at his feet as he's just kind of crying out in anger and despair, I believe. And Perrikus behind him, this towering figure with his scythe weapon drawn. This cover done by one of I believe one of Will Rose's favorite artists from way back when, Lee Weeks. Will, if I got that wrong, please let me know. But I believe I remember that little bit of Will Rose trivia. But a Lee Weeks cover. So we're getting some late '90s, early 2000s heavy hitters on these covers.
And look at this freaking cover. This is like a 10 out of 10. If you're going to have a villain have like an iconic cover, this is just actually absolutely what you want.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. We in this issue, so our synopsis here in part 2 of the Dark Wars, we really see Perrikus start talking trash to Thor, who he believes has run away in cowardice. He starts the issue saying, "Thor, come to me, you spineless, gutless coward. Come and die the proud death of a warrior born." Something that Thor claims and says a lot about himself. I am a warrior born. I am all these great things. I am a champion of it. He's saying, okay, come and die like one then. And he says the desire of Magistron Zelia is not to be denied. So Perrikus is doing this because he's being told to. He's not the boss. Like, that's an important thing to remember here. He is not the boss, but he's the Thor of the Dark God Pantheon.
Yeah.
And he said, just as I destroyed the Thunder God's weapon, now I shall use it to shatter his skull. And we see him try to pick it up. And sorry, man, kind of historically, that's kind of Thor's thing. And you're not going to be the one to do it. And we see his anger come out. Meanwhile, Jake is crawling through the sewers of Asgard, and he runs into these like trash monsters who are they are, I don't know, they're gathering different beings to be workers, and they pull Jake aside and they're like, if this one dies today, because apparently they're not used to having workers around for long. This is not like a tenure situation. We're not working on retirement plans here. They say about this puny Midgardian, Soloth, who is apparently their boss, wanted us to find more workers, and now we got one. It won't be happy though. This weakling won't last through the day. No matter. There's plenty more on Midgard. So they're looking for disposable workers, and they found one. We see Magistron Zelia and Perrikus continue to talk trash to an imprisoned Odin. Odin is just sitting there taking all of this. A few of the members of the Dark Gods have their little moments, but Takats is kind of the voice of reason here, Eric. He says that he is free to go find Thor. Yes, I must, so I can grind his bones to dust. He wants a little bit of glory for himself. And he's like, why are we not looking for this guy? It's like a situation where he's like, am I the only one that's like the voice of reason here?
He's gonna get away. Like, let's go get him.
Gosh, dude. We go back to the underground of Asgard, and we find out that Slaloth is almost like a dark version of like a world tree. He's an evil tree kind of goo monster. And Jake is laid before him, and he says, "What manner of creature are you?" And the monster replies, muck, slime, excrement, filth, sludge, all of it. All that is discarded is me. That is me. And he's like, this can't be Asgard. Like, this is fucked up. What is happening right here? Jake gets beaten down, and really, we're kind of delaying the reunion of Thor back into the fight by Jake being subjugated by all of these kind of automatons and this crazy muck tree monster. But then a little ray of hope, Eric.
Yes.
We hear a voice from nearby say, "I say thee nay." And Jake says, "Well, that voice sounds familiar." And a skinny Volstagg the Voluminous is fighting off these automaton monsters, and they say, "Not today, Skinny. Give Red a shovel and put him to work." He said, "Work? Nay, for thou art dealing with a warrior, one whose very name causes unbridled fear in his enemies. Be thee mindful, thou art dealing with Volstagg, voluminous Volstagg, Volstagg the valiant, Volstagg the vengeful. 'Twould seem my legend stretches e'en far off to Midgard." And Jake is like, "Dude, it's you." And this gives Jake the impetus to fight back. He takes the shovel that he has and just bashes one of these monsters in the face with them. They shatter, but then Takat shows up because remember, he's going to look for Thor. None of the other dark gods give a fuck all about where he's at, apparently. And Takat takes Jake away. They dispose him in front of the dark gods and Perrikus. Perrikus is not really pleased because Takat says to him, then wait, you will forevermore, for I'm the one who captured Thor." Drops him off in front of him, and Perrikus says, "Have you lost all reason? This waif, this twig of a mortal, is not the god of thunder." And he throws Jake through multiple walls, and apparently Jake is fine there, I guess. Perrikus wants more. He wants Thor. He doesn't want this guy. And because Perrikus' dialogue is written so well, he just says, "No, I want the battle of all battles, an epic war that will be admired and trumpeted through the ages, a victory that will become legend throughout the realms of gods and men alike." Says such Jake responds with, though hell's internal embrace will doubtlessly be my fate, I will fight thee to the last breath. Again, Jake is a human man. He will die. But Jake says an important phrase here that is echoed from the beginning of the issue. He says, "For such is the way of a warrior born." Perrikus, not pleased, says, "Such is the way of a fool." He electrocutes the shit out of Jake, and this leads to Jake grabbing the pieces of Mjolnir, fusing them together with his hands, and transforming into Thor, saying, "Thy mystic forge bleeding unchecked. Still art thou infused with the power of Odin and Asgard to respond to the touch of thy one true master. Cast aside then your mortal guise, that the son of Odin, scion of Asgard, Thor, god of thunder, might stand again." And Perrikus is like, "Dude, let's fucking go." And they fight, and we have a massive battle on our hands. Everybody is watching, but Thor also knows that he is going to need a little more help in this issue with Perrikus. So he goes off again, and everyone's standing there looking like, did he just do it again?
Did he just run away twice?
Maybe we could just dig in here for a second because we're coming to the end of this issue. Perrikus responds to Thor whisking away, saying, "Trembling coward." Magistron Zelia says, "To see him flee twice in a day is almost better than seeing him perish." Odin says, "Ne'er didst I imagine such a sight." Balder says, "By 1,000 threats of Ragnarok, 'tis true." And Sif just says, "Thor's cowardice hath shamed us all." But Thor hasn't run away from the fight. He's going to get more people to join the fight, and he is going to get the Destroyer. And that
Yes.
is what happens in issue 11. I know that was not a brief synopsis, dear listener, but this issue was so forking epic towards the end. Senses shattering. Absolutely. Eric, is there anything I might have missed in that not so brief synopsis?
I don't think you missed anything too incredibly important, but you are absolutely right. This is a pivotal issue. It takes us from the sewers back to Perrikus, meeting Volstagg. So much stuff happens. This was one of the issues that started to feel just a tad overstuffed, if I might.
Oh,
it felt a little like the whole creation of Slaughtoth, the grime tree monster thing. Maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't need him. I don't know. Maybe we could have just done with the trash henchmen, and that would have been fine. I guess the trash henchmen need to have some kind of a.
You have a boss,
but you gotta have a sludge boss. So
you got it. Always have a sludge boss.
But it is a really interesting. Look, the pace is much slower, but there's still stakes down here in the grimy sewer area, and this is not Golden Spire Asgard sewage. This is dark Asgard sewage, and this is nasty stuff. So it also gives Jake more to do. I know that it's really just Thor the whole time, but in Jake's body, but it also gives us a look at Jake Olsen being heroic. Right. So Thor is not just heroic when he's powerful. He's heroic no matter what, and he's trying to lead a rebellion to resist against these slavers, these henchmen of Slaughtoth. But really, really cool. When the automaton trash demon monster thing smashes, Takats pops out of it. So I guess that's another one of Takat's powers of sort of being able to emerge or almost like switch places with this thing. He really kind of like pops out of the shattering thing. It smashes like a clay pot, and there he is.
Yeah.
And Takats doesn't get any respect because he's out here making things happen, he gets no respect. But
seriously, if the Dark Gods would have just trusted Takats a little, I'm not saying make him boss.
Yeah.
I'm not saying make him your sludge tree boss. But like, dude was onto something. He delivers Thor to you and still gets no credit. I mean, I guess justice for Takats, I guess. Eric, are we ready to move on to issue 12?
Just a second.
Yes,
This double page spread, which in the 90s it was a like vertical double page spread. You had to like turn it sideways and open it up like a Playboy, where it's like going upwards or something like that for the centerfold. So it's Thor spread across 2 pages, but vertically, and that's where we see him standing hunched over Mjolnir now recombined. Mjolnir's recombined. It's not been reforged yet, but it does sort of snap back together, I suppose. Yeah. And so it's usable now, even though it's not completely fixed. And then, to whisk away and pick up with the Destroyer, who we just left in sort of the first half of the arc. We know that the Destroyer was basically banished to this remote planet to not be affecting the Earth, and Thor knows exactly where that is to be able to go back and get it.
Yeah, we are kind of connecting some dots from earlier on in the storyline, and I love that. I love that when writers don't forget stuff. We expect that from kind of more modern writers because we have this wealth of database. How can you forget stuff? But like Dan Jurgens, like no, man, the Destroyer was always going to come back. I kind of had that ace in the hole if I wanted to use them again. And we see this beautiful depiction of the Destroyer on the last page. Eric, have we satiated all the thoughts on number 11?
Yeah. Let's bring it on to issue number 12.
Number 12 came out April 7th of 1999, and it is entitled Dark Wars Part 3. This is the climactic double-sized issue. So I will do my best, listener, but this issue gets really gnarly and awesome. So no promises. On the cover, we see Thor and the Destroyer fighting off the legions of the Dark Gods soldiers. But this is also kind of a full double paged cover, because on the backside we see Perrikus in contrast fighting against Thor as well. From the left side will be the back page, and then in the background, Magistron Zelia and Odin are facing off against each other as well. Beautiful double, kind of a double-sized cover by JR. We start this issue with Thor and the Destroyer having a war of words before they very quickly descend into a war of fists. Preston Case was the military man that took on the body of the Destroyer to stop Thor in the first few issues. It's why Thor is in Jake Olsen's body. The Destroyer took him out, and like Eric just said, Thor in the continuation of that story banished the Destroyer and Preston off to a distant planet. Well, he's back on that planet, and they're fighting off each other a little bit. Fantastic fight scenes, but we quickly move on because Preston is like, "Hey, dude, if you can kind of reunite me with my body, that'd be awesome. Like, I'll help you, but if you reunite me with my body, that'd be great." So they go back to the hospital. Jane is like, "Hannah, come on, girl. Like, he's not coming back. You're picking out dresses and you're talking about wedding planning stuff." And homie doesn't play that stuff. Jane is called in to Preston's room, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen here?" I mean, last time Preston was in danger, he was fighting off the Avengers in the instrument of Asgardian war known as the Destroyer. She goes into the room, and wouldn't you know, the regular crew you expect to be in a hospital room. You got Thor, the god of thunder. You got Hercules, the prince of power, and the giant destroyer arm. And she's like, "What the hell is going on in here?" They explain a little bit to her. Hercules kind of explains what he's doing there, because we really got no hint that he was going to be there. But Thor is kind of telling him that, like, yeah, we're assembling our team to go back and fight the Dark Gods, and we're going to end this. I love that as they're walking out of the room, Hercules is like, let ring the cry to battle, to war," which is like, yeah, Herc, you got it, man.
And no Avengers. This is godly business, so the gods are going to take care of it. So.
That is one thing I really did like, that because Hercules says, like, "Hey, like, I'm sure the Avengers would help us here." And Thor's like, no, man, this is like an honor thing, and we're gods, and we fought Zeus a minute back, you remember. But yeah, Hercules is okay, man. I love that they are like comrades in arms this way. Mm-hmm. Herc's like, maybe this. Thor's like, no, this. And Herc's like, okay, this. And this is the moment where Jane holds Thor back, and she's like, "Hey, dude, like, I know who you are. Like, this is all, you can't get one past old Jane." And she's like, you gotta be honest. Like, if you were really a hero, you wouldn't just string her along. And Thor's like, "I do not have time for this right now." Like, he says, would that it were so simple, milady. Other factors complicate matters. Still, I shall take thy words to heart." He's like, "Okay, I appreciate it, but like, bigger fish to fry." We go back to Asgard. Fantastic depiction of the Dark Gods. John Romita Jr. did a fantastic work doing these Asgardian scapes and the gloominess of the Dark Gods, really bringing them to life. And they're almost abstract in the way that he does these. We've got some Kirby crackle in the background. Everything's looking all nice. And we see Thor, Hercules take it to the armies of the Dark Gods for Asgard and the splendor of Olympus, Hercules says, which thou dost seek to destroy. And Preston within the Destroyer armor is like, nuts to all that. This is for life. It's like, God, dude, you couldn't have just stayed quiet. That's not the battle cry you thought it was. Perrikus joins the fight. Thor and him renew their hostilities. They go back and forth and back and forth. And for the first time, we see Magistron Zelia get involved in the fight. She soars over the battlefield and she calls all of the dark gods unto herself. And oh no, actually, no, that happens a little bit further on. I will restrain myself. We see Thor get blown through the floor of Asgard because again,
he falls into a crevasse.
A crevasse, yes, and he transforms back into Jake on purpose. He's going to go find Volstagg. He's going to go find the Warriors 3. They're working hard in the bowels of Asgard, and Jake proves his bravery. He jumps onto the backs of one of the automatons, and the Warriors 3 are so ready to go. Like they are all mucked up and ready to you know what. Jake says, "Get ready to rock, gentlemen. This is Independence Day." And I'm like, "Oh, don't do it, man. Don't give me the Independence Day speech because I am ready to go." Fandral keys in on this. And he's like, "That voice, it doth echo the stature and quality of," and Volstagg just shouts, "It is he, good Fandral, Thor, God of Thunder." And they go off through the swamp sewers of Asgard, and Jake he's got a laptop with him. Like, where did this laptop come from? And he pulls out this laptop and he's like clickety 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 click while the Warriors 3 are fighting off these automatons, and he is able to send off a message to recur Replicus to the Bifrost Bridge to get some added help. We go back to the main fight above. Odin, still chained up, is watching all of his allies just be torn apart. Replicus shows up and he takes out Takots, which is interesting, turn of events. And we see Replicus free Odin. Magistron Zelia not having it. Odin, in his cloth diaper, grabs a sword. He is potbelly as fuck in this issue. He is shredded, big old potbelly, just a damp Santa Claus. He grabs a sword. He's got energy like crackling from his hand. He says, "Mayhap, for I have held high thy weighted prison for months, and I am weakened. Still sayest I, let us determine who reigns supreme. Come to me, Zelia, that we might conclude our war." The fight just amplifies. Herc's going at it. The Destroyer's going at it. Thor rejoins the battlefield. The Warriors 3 are in tow. They are charging into battle. Thor jumps at Perrikus. He says, "At last, the time has come, Perrikus, for victory or death." And this is where the thing I was going to say earlier, this is where Magistron Zelia is like, but the ace up my sleeve. You delude yourselves to my side, Adva, and she calls all the energy of the dark gods to herself. Thor thinks he's got like a death blow on Perrikus ready to go, but he disappears from his armor, and all of the dark god's energy is completed in this thing called the Union, where it's like an elemental rock monster that Magistron Zelia says, this is Adva. She says, "The dimensional gateway has been crossed. The very nature of life has been reshaped. The Legion are one." So she's taken all of her eggs, put it in this one basket, and we see all the different heroes fight against this giant elemental creature. Replicus is destroyed. The Destroyer is downed, and Thor continues to swing at it, and he's solving this problem in the best way he knows how. He gets knocked out of the fight, and Odin is just watching this as Thor channels all this energy through himself, the power of the storm. Magistron Zelia is like, "Oh, that's freaking cute, man." But lightning and rain is not going to solve this problem for you. He channels all the energy through himself, through Mjolnir, and blasts Magistron Zelia with this huge lightning beam. He says, until it strikes to consume the likes of thee. And then Odin, Odin in his cloth diaper tackles Zelia to the ground. The Legion, the Union falls apart. And Odin, as he's tackling Magistra and Zelia, says, by the thousand threats of Ragnarok, Zelia, the time of reckoning hath come. Thou art but a leech, using the energy and power stolen from me, energy I now reclaim. And Odin takes all of the energy that had been taken from him, takes it back, and he's reunited with Thor. They celebrate. The crowd chants, Thor, Thor, Thor. They've won. They've defeated the dark gods. But on the last little panel, Eric, we see Marnot as this ethereal face in the stars say, how interesting, Thor. You think the troubles are behind you. Everything is resolved. Have you so easily forgotten about Marnot? So the conclusion of our battle, Eric, your thoughts. I am winded, and this was so epic. I couldn't restrain myself.
You did great. It's an oversized issue. I was trying to think, what anniversary are they celebrating? It's just the 1 year of the run. I was like, is this a significant number? Okay. It's the 12th issue in the run, so 12th it's the issue, 1 year. Really, really cool stuff. Thor, I love Thor's spirit bomb here. He is powering up like Goku, and he shoots this energy blast sort of out of his chest with his arms over his head. So it's really kind of coming out of his whole chest and torso at the same time. So this, I don't think we've seen that before from Thor, but it definitely conveys that's a big energy blast, and he's doing it in a way that, it's not just yet another one from the hammer. It's something different this time.
It reminded me of Iron Man's Unibeam.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of.
And then Odin rushing over to just be like, give me that energy back. I'm just going to absorb that back. And when he absorbs energy, psychotic. He looks a little crazy. When he absorbs energy, he is like massive next to Thor. I don't know if that was intentional to make him just look larger than life because he's just so pumped up now. But he is just absolutely grand after he gets his energy back, and he's at full power again, because he was looking rough before. He had little darts in him. He was like bloody and ragged because he had been chained up to that, the mountain that if the chains came undone would crush him, and they were just pulling at him the whole time. So I thought the journey back into the sewer, where it seems like Jake has done some planning ahead, because when he transforms into Jake, he's got a little knapsack with him. He's got a little satchel. Right. And so out of that, he pulls a syringe to drug one of the garbage henchmen, and he pulls the laptop. So he brought some gear with him, a syringe and a laptop. He's good to go. Go through customs with that, but he's pulled that out and put it to great effect. So
that's so good.
Well, I mean, he's a drug dealer, right? He's got
well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what Jake Olsen is really.
Dude's got syringes whenever he needs them, so he's just. But yeah, it was really cool with the Warriors 3 and the getting riled up, let's go take on this battle. Really awesome way to show that really over 3 issues, Thor's been trying to recruit additional forces. Everybody's going to be needed. Everybody's got to play into this to make the final battle worth it.
Yeah, it's I think this is really where the giant big laser blasts and the Union being this elemental kind of kaiju looking thing,
this land mass. It's like a whole mountain that came to life.
It's like a mountain. I was like, okay, I get why John Romita Jr. got so much work. I get it. No disrespect at all. I love some of the double page spreads in here because this is a double sized issue. We get so much more. It truly does feel like a huge issue. So much happens. A lot of fighting. It is. This is what we've talked about in previous creator spotlights, Eric. This is the kind of story that only works in Thor. There's not another hero you do this with. unless it's like a whole Avengers team or if it's a big X-Men crossover thing, Thor lives in the intersection of fantasy and sci-fi and cosmic and mythological, and this was so good. I loved it so much. It gave me the vibe of this was like Dan Jurgens doing his version of a Surtur saga level story. And I really feel like it delivered on the conclusion of the first major arc, the year long arc. It felt big, it felt bombastic, and I think it really delivered.
And this for me is such a great issue. It's just the right level of complexity for me, where I don't feel like I don't know what's going on and I'm confused. What's this giant mountain monster doing? Why are they back in the sewer? Because a lot happens. I mean, he switches bodies, he's going different locations and stuff, but I'm able to follow everything that's happening. So it's complex enough that you never, it kind of keeps you guessing. You never know exactly what's going to happen next, but it's not so overly convoluted that you're not like sitting there staring at the page going, what? Like, is that for real? It always feels like, okay, like this is what happens next, and it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. I know we've talked through a lot of the major points of this Dark Gods saga. This Dark Wars have concluded. This was kind of it for the Dark Gods, for Perrikus, for a long time. That like Faz and I were talking about this on just a private chat the other day. I was like, how did no one do anything with Perrikus? Like, I'm not saying like he was the greatest villain ever, and it was just like people were just totally missing out, but like such a cool character design, and no one did anything with him for so long, and the Dark Gods just kind of like sat there for a while. What did you think of them as characters as a whole? Because we're not going to see them really a lot going forward. I know maybe don't they come in at the end a little bit?
I forget, and if I did remember, I wouldn't tell you anyway because I want you to experience it. But no, you're right. Like, I think the character design is good enough. The rationale for like why haven't we heard of them? Well, because like the memories were wiped. Like there is a little bit of an explanation of like how this fits in without breaking the continuity. The design is so cool. The stakes are really high, and gosh, it's I don't know. It's just one of those things where it shows the creativity, but it also feels like it fits. It feels like a Thor villain in a Thor story. Right. So it feels familiar in that sense and also right at home.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Eric, is there anything else that needs to be said about issue 12?
I'm dying to know, who is Marnot? That's what we're going to know in the next issue.
So Thor Volume 2, Issue 13, it came out in May of 1999. Still the same creative team. We are on a hot streak with this group. And we get a fantastic cover where Marnot is in the background as Thor is crippling over from this energy, kind of a crackle from Marnot's fingers, which, by the way, listener, it does not happen in the issue. And we are pose the question, who is Marnot? It is both it is on the cover of the issue, but the actual issue is called The Work of Odin, and it hints a little bit as to the true identity of Marnot. So this issue functions as an epilogue to the Dark Wars story that we just concluded. Odin and Thor are discussing things with the people of Asgard. They're pronouncing victory. They are pronouncing the celebration of Thor. And Thor is like, I don't want you guys to celebrate. I just want the glory of Asgard to be I want the glory of Asgard to be reestablished. Hercules and the Destroyer are having a conversation. Preston's like, I want to get back to my body. And Herc's like, you don't know how to party, man. Come on.
Loosen up. Yeah.
It's a celebration. And in the midst of all of this, we see Marnot show up And he's like, we've got more business to conclude. And this is also after Thor, via the help of Odin, has restored his hammer. So we've fixed Mjolnir, and Odin. That's one of the works of Odin in this issue for sure. But then Marnot shows up. And Marnot says, "In the flesh and timely as ever, champ." And I love Odin's line here, which I've already shared with Eric because I find the irony hilarious. "Cease thine impudent ways, stranger, lest thou exhaust the infinite patience of Odin." Hilarious.
I do especially love that. There's something about an omniscient god who is so lacking in self-awareness that it's fun.
It's so good. I love it. And Marnot, because he's a little bit of a court jester almost, he's like, "Odin Schmoden, I'm not impressed." And you're like, who in the world is talking to Odin this way? Everyone, they do like these crowd shots, and it's like, oh my gosh, I think they're gonna kill this guy. Like his impudence. Marnot calls he just has like a bunch of little like one-liners. It's like he's trying out a stand-up act when Odin's the only audience he cares about. Odin refers to him as a bumbling oaf, but then we get the reveal. That Marnot says, "Oh, don't be such a crank, boss. Never bothered you when I touched you before." Thor's like, "Zounds. Ne'er hath a man or beast spoken thus to the omnipotent one." And I love this reveal, where Marnot says, "Oh, I'm the product of Santa here, all right, but not in the way that you suggest." Because Thor is thinking, right before that, Thor says, "Hold, such mocking behavior is the handwork of one I recognize well. Thou art Loki, as I did suspect all along."
I love it, guess, yeah.
Thor has this whole like, I wrote in my journals, like, I think Marnot's Loki, but I'm not sure. Here's another clue. He's like, all along. And Marnot's like, ha, you're a fucking idiot. He's like, I am a product of Santa here, but not in the way that you suggest. Never didst I suspect the likes of thee. And we find out that Marnot is one of Odin's ravens that was imbued with special powers and special knowledge of the dark gods. But it was kept from everybody. So, Eric, I may need your assistance on explaining why this raven Heskamar. He says, "I, even obedient Heskamar, at thy service now and forevermore, my liege, and knowest ye well, majesty, that the witchery was thine. Just as thou didst block out the memories of the dark god's first war with Asgard, so did ye block out thy contingency plan in the eventuality that they might attack again." So really, this raven is Odin's backup plan?
I've got a great analogy for you.
Okay.
The raven is a save point.
Oh,
if shit goes down, don't worry. We've got this raven out there that in the event that Asgard is destroyed and the dark gods come back, the raven then takes on powers of Odin and really can get this chain of events started that are going to help them lead to where they need to get.
I love that. It works perfectly for my level of understanding. Thor, though, is like, why did you give me Jake's life, though? As a point.
Wait, what was that about?
And Heskamar is just like, as a mask to protect you from the dark god's detection. Thus was the eternal will of Odin. Thor, many times hast thou interfered with me before, father, but to deceive me is so unconscionable. And Odin's like, oh, come on. Hey, come on. It's... Who did but follow mine? Heskamar did but follow my will to protect the realm eternal and all who dwell within it. Still I am troubled, and still must I leave. Thor just pieces out after he frees Preston Case from the destroyer. Thor heads back, and they restore. With the power of Odin's scepter, they restore Preston to his full health. Thor does this enchantment where he says, Preston, by the will and wisdom of Almighty Odin, I grant thee life. And he is restored. This, we get a little bit of an epilogue with Jane. Jane says, he doesn't remember being the destroyer. Doubtless the will of Odin at work. Odin messing with people's lives again. It's bolded and it's larger font, which makes me think, ooh, Jane hasn't forgotten shit. Yeah. Odin messing with people's lives again. Does that mean that Asgard is safe? Thor says, all is as it should be at long last. And we get a little bit of a hint that we might be coming back to that in a little bit. But then Thor goes back to Asgard after Preston's okay. We have a little bit of a party, and this last big page where Thor says, triumph is ours now and forevermore. And everybody says, for honor and for glory. Our actual epilogue of this issue comes with the officers of the NYPD searching Jake's bedroom in his apartment, and then one of the officers comes and he's like, I found him in the toilet tank, and he has two bags of like, it looks like prescription drugs, and he's like, want to bet they match up with the inventory stolen from the hospital? And the detective, last panel of this storyline, says, so it's true, Jake Olsen's a thief and a drug pusher. Put out a warrant for his arrest. That slime's going down. So apparently we're doing Law and Order now.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, Eric, we've come to the conclusion of the Dark Wars.
It's fun to have an actual end of an arc. So nice to know that this is not the end of the run. There are many, many more issues to come, but a very nice pause for celebration. We get, Thor and Sif, the Warriors 3, Heimdall, some random guy in a yellow bandana. I don't know who this is on the last page there, but like they're all there. And then who's this other person? They're all celebrating. But it's just fun. It's fun to kind of party a little bit after the dark gods have been dealt with.
I think that might be Balder.
Oh, is it Balder? I'm sorry, Balder. You just look like some random dude. So I'm.
He's not in his traditional attire that we're used to, but I think that might be Balder.
He looks way younger. Yeah.
He's not gray haired. After the Simonson run, he got the hair treatment for men.
He just dyed his hair. It's funny. He's going for a younger vibe. The Marnot stuff was cool. I think it is a little bit complicated. It's a little bit hand wavy, but it's satisfying enough. And it's definitely a twist because the whole time you're kind of led to be like, who's this powerful, magical trickster causing illusions, doing the face appearing in the sky trick? Mm-hmm. Who does that sound like? And then it's a twist. It's a totally different character. It's actually a raven. It's pretty wild, but yeah, I mean, I buy it. It's fine.
It's like, if it sounds like a Loki, if it looks like a Loki, if it walks like a Loki, it's a raven. What? But I love Marnot as a character. I actually dig. I like the little like trickster, impish, I don't know, like almost like the demon on the shoulder kind of guy.
Yeah, like a good Malekith, not like a murdering Malekith.
Yes. And I'm just going to look really quick via the fantastic resource known as Marvel Wiki. If Marnot ever shows up again,
I wouldn't look at that. I would just ignore that.
Well, never mind. On the advice of my counsel, I will not proceed with that idea. But we conclude this epilogue. It's a fantastic story. I mean, I loved these 5 issues. This is something I could reread. This is something that I would love to go back. There was fun moments. There was just, like you said, overstuffed. Too much action at points, but I'm like, okay, I'd rather we err on that side than waiting for a fight every 4 issues. But man, I really enjoyed this, Eric. It was a good damn read. It was a lot of fun.
Hell yeah! And that's the thing with the Jurgens run, right? It's like it's beloved by people that were pulling it on a monthly basis. It had a huge long run, so it must have been selling, right? But it gets snubbed by people that just read Aaron and Simonson, and they just skip in between. They're just like, oh yeah, don't need to worry about that. Like, we'll just do Aaron and Simonson. So don't sleep on Jurgens. That's why we're doing the Journey into Jurgens, to really kind of get this out there.
Yeah, and Eric, is there anything else we need to say about the Dark Wars before we do our episode's little epilogue and talk about the annual from 1999?
That sounds good to me. I think the Dark War with the Dark Gods is all wrapped up with a nice bow, and we can get into this actually very relevant Doctor Doom, Franklin Richards, Fantastic Four related content in a little standalone annual.
Yeah, so this issue, like we mentioned at the beginning, is not. It doesn't fall in our Dan Jurgens Thor continuity, but it is rather important to one of the overarching storylines of the time, the Heroes Reborn storyline. So this is a little aside story. So Dan Jurgens is writing, he is doing art for this annual that came out in January of 1999. So we said it came out after issue 9. And on the cover of this, we are promised a story from the pages of Heroes Reborn, the return, the secret odyssey of Thor and Doctor Doom. So we are going to get a kind of Thor and Doctor Doom team up journey, but they're going to go off and fight in this on a planet that is not familiar with them. We're gonna learn a little bit about this place, and Thor is heading. He's been called to the Baxter Building. He is kind of surprise party jumped by the Fantastic Four. And they want to thank him for helping save Franklin and dealing with Doctor Doom around the events of Heroes Reborn. But then Reed's like, yeah, man, like, how did you get back? Like, we just saw you like, poof, gone. But what happened? And Thor tells them the story of how he fought with Doctor Doom in this in this portal space. He was trying to get them to go to a specific other location with Mjolnir, but really something kind of got all wonky in the mix, and they ended up on the planet. I've got to get this name right. Balatrain, something like that.
Well, and to get there, they do. Yeah. He does this sort of like almost like this sacrifice play where he's like, if I have to battle you in another dimension for infinity, I will, to keep you away from like wrecking everything else, which is like very Thor Godzilla.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes. Very, very much so. And it's a long story short. Thor shows up. He wakes up and he is introduced to Saranda, who is this woman who is been exiled from the larger population because she dabbles in a little bit of witchcraft, and dark arts are they're outlawed on this planet. Doctor Doom is not wanting to play it safe. He runs into the population, the more populated space underground in the Rust Caverns, and he does a power play. He takes over their technology. He kind of goes to war with their ruling bodies, and he convinces them that he needs to go deal with things up top. Thor tries to travel back to more familiar parts of the world, but the hammer is not working. And he's like, I don't know what would cause Mjolnir not to work. This is alarming because usually Mjolnir works. Like, this is one of the things Mjolnir can do. Thor and Doctor Doom face off, and it comes to light that the person responsible for getting them to Balatrain and the one who is stopping Thor's hammer from being useful in this situation is Saranda herself. She's the one that's keeping this from being resolved. Dr. Doom reveals that information, and previously Dr. Doom thought he needed Thor and Mjolnir to get back to Earth. Through the use of this planet's technology, he's like, I actually don't need you anymore. Peace out. And Saranda dies in Thor's arms, and then he's like, "Oh, better go back to Earth now." In broad strokes, then we get back to the Baxter Building, and Thor has told this whole story. And or no, does he just remember it, Eric?
I think he's
Is he
remembering it.
dictating this story or not? Either way, we experience the story. Thor comes back to the present, and Franklin, ironically, has given Thor a present. And Thor opens up the gift, and it is a like toy, like claw hammer, like that you would hit nails into like a board with. And it, I think I took a screenshot of this.
It looks like a squeaky dog toy hammer a little bit.
Exactly. But it's like, you're a friend of the Fantastic Four, and Thor's like, such a noble gift. It's just like, dude, it's a shitty hammer. Like, come on, it's pandering. But Susan lays a little bit of a lip lock on Thor, which I thought was interesting. Reed famously does not like other people being around Sue, so I found that thought provoking. But this issue is just a fun little side story where we see Thor and Doctor Doom fighting in an alternate dimension, and I enjoyed it. It was a good little like solo adventure. What'd you think?
It definitely is a fun Doctor Doom story because it does that thing that good Doctor Doom stories do so well. Which, listen to me, a year ago I had never read a Doctor Doom story, and now I feel like, I'm reading like One World Under Doom. I know all about Doctor Doom stories.
He is swirling wine with his monocle, everybody, just so you know.
That's a good Doom story. Sure. There's a lot of twists in this, and it turns out that like Doom is right, and he's not even really the bad guy here. He's trying to get them out of there, and this woman is the one pulling a fast one on Thor, and she's really like the villain of this whole planet. She's been exiled because she's a baddie, and so Doom is kind of like leading an uprising against her.
Right.
That's actually the good position to be in, because that's what they should be doing at this point. So Thor kind of catches some feelings for her as it's like he keeps trying every day to teleport off the planet and it's not working, but they're kind of growing closer together in a bond. And it's like, dude, Thor, like you're not the best at reading people, because she's the one who was doing this.
You got along. Played, brother.
Yeah.
I do love this is kind of like a sword and sorcery Flash Gordon kind of story. It's very like evocative of like old pulpy stories. And the Dan Jurgens art, man, we were talking about this on the little pregame episode, Eric. Dan Jurgens' version artistically of Thor is fantastic. Mm-hmm. It's a very hunky Thor, very, very human looking, not as angular as like a John Romita Jr.'s version would be, but the guy has got it down, man. It's good stuff.
And he grows a beard back because he's been there so long. He goes from stubble to a bright blonde beard. Yeah,
it's good stuff. I enjoyed this annual. It was fantastic. None of these 6 issues were like, oh my gosh, I had to get through that one just to get to another one. I enjoyed. This was a good morning of reading. It was a good fun time,
and Eric, rather fast too, because like I read these all in an evening and had time to take notes on them. So really, they just flow right by. I think it's well written. By this point in time in the late 90s, they've got the placement of the speech bubbles, the size of the font, the readability of the lettering. All that stuff is very dialed in. Unlike, say, the 60s when they were first figuring stuff out, and then the 90s when they made everything look a little grungy and kind of difficult to read. So by now it's just so smooth.
Yeah, it's a very good, well paced, well done, well executed comic. Mm-hmm. And I think it's really a testament to having like just established pros on your book. Like they just know how to do it. And so really enjoyed this. Eric, I just want to say, any final thoughts on what we've talked about this issue? I know we've wrapped up a few different things, but any final thoughts on Journey to Jurgens Part 2, The Dark Wars, and Thor's little adventure with Doctor Doom?
Just listeners, are you seeing how good this Jurgens run is? Have you got a taste of it so
Y'all been
far?
sleeping.
And you're hooked. First, I want to give you a taste that get you hooked. I'm a pusher like Jake Olson. We're going to get you hooked on this run.
I'm a pusher like Jake Olson. Oh, he's so good. Oh man, everybody, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Across the Bifrost. It's the second edition of Journey into Jurgens. We have multiple episodes left. Like we're still in the beginning. We have not scratched we've only begun to scratch the surface. So we hope you join us next time where we journey into Jurgens and we talk about all things Thor in his run. But until then, I just want to remind you that you can support the show by checking out the links in the episode description. We have Patreon, we have Instagram, we have Discord, all great ways to support and get in contact with us. If you wouldn't mind leaving us a rating and a review, that would be fan-forking-tastic, because Faz will read reviews, everybody. He is not satisfied until you have given him things to read on the internet, reviews that we hope just like put a little something in there that he can have fun with, and he will. He loves that stuff. Loves it. But just remember, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, whether you are swimming through the sewers of Asgard looking for allies, whether you are at a Giants game and you just want your girlfriend's teenage daughter to like you, God damn it, whether you are fighting the dark gods in this climactic battle for the sake of Asgard and all of your friends and family, or whether you're off on your own little dimensional journey and there's this guy with you that's like, I guess if we have to be friends for a time, we will, but I really don't like this guy. But no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are in the realms, just remember to do one thing, and that is to stay worthy. Bum bum. Ba-dum bum.
Ba-da-na-nan.
Whew, man. Just a little over an hour, I guess.
I lost track of time. It was fun. Diving into Jurgens.
Twas a good one.